Borgman puts it up and scores! Touchdown, Michigan! Holly took the Heisman! And listen to this during goal line.
Let's look at the whole history of the boulder, the big rock. First of all, it was dug up by accident when they put the new artificial turf there.
We were just going to paint it, but I thought, no, we got to start being able to inch that thing along the way and move it, because it's very difficult to move.
After every practice, Coach D would have one of the position groups, move the rock, and, we have to do it together.
You can't move the rock alone. So if you go out there, you just try to push it yourself, it's not going to work.
We moved that rock all the way to the Rose Bowl, yeah. Yeah, we moved it every week.
On January 1st, 2014, the Michigan State Spartans ended an odyssey spanning more than a quarter century, returning to glory in Pasadena for the first time since 1988.
It was a broken program for a lot of those years, with some periods of great success under George Perlis and a little bit under Nick Saban.
Then you have Bobby Williams, which was a failed hire, John L. Smith, a failed hire. So it's starting to look like one of those jobs, is this a good job?
We look forward to great things here and great times. Thank you. My husband, Mark D'Antonio.
A former Michigan State assistant, Mark D'Antonio, boasted a winning pedigree. First as defensive coordinator for the 2002 national champion Ohio State Buckeyes, then as head coach at Cincinnati.
I admire a million things about him. Honestly, his humility is incredible. He's a guy, that small-town guy that worked his way up, went through the ranks, and then takes over a Big Ten job.
Coach D's he's a father figure. That's how I look at him. He's just a guy that demands respect when he walks in the room. When you have a guy that recruits good people, he cares about his players, then it's going to create an environment where you're going to win.
Oh, they'll fake it. Bates throws it. He's got him. Wide open. He's got Charlie Gantt. Spartans win.
Antonio comes in and exacts that culture change by just getting everybody to play smarter football, to be more disciplined, to be more attentive to the details of the game.
I can't point back to years before me. I just know that this is what we have now. It was developed by everybody who has gone through here, not just this class of seniors, but there were a lot of other people that paid the price to get where we're at.
It is blocked! Spartan, Michigan State sends its senior class out with a bowl.
The Spartans defeated Georgia in the 2012 Outback Bowl, punctuating a second straight 11-win season. But the following autumn saw Michigan State on the wrong end of repeated close calls during a disappointing 7-6 campaign.
Another excruciating loss for Mark D'Antonio, and victory was in their grasp.
Really, we sort of hung our hat on our defense in 2012. We were losing, but we were losing very close and low-scoring games.
They went 3-5 in the Big Ten. The 5 Big Ten losses were by 13 points. They lost every Big Ten home game.
At the Spartans' 2012 postseason banquet, D'Antonio foretold the destiny of next year's team.
The chemistry, the attitude, the intensity of that banquet in 2012 sent that message to me that that they would be the ones that they were the next step.
The last thing I will say to our underclassmen, and then we'll leave it at that, we'll run the video. You will be the ones. Underclassmen, you will be the ones.
It just means you guys will be the ones who are going to do great things here. You guys are going to be the ones who bring back, the great years of Michigan State.
We lost by inches in 2012. That was the next step. It was their time to take that step.
You've heard the term one day at a time. We literally take this one rep at a time. One rep, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's in a conditioning workout, a speed workout, an agility workout, whatever it is we're doing. And I think that mindset was instrumental in helping us find those inches.
Does this year have a slogan or a mantra like P4RB, prepare for Rose Bowl, and what would that be?
This year's mantra? Chase it.
Chase it was always, looking ahead, never looking to the side, never looking back. When you're chasing something, you're focused, and you always have your focus on this one thing, and that was the Big Ten championship for us.
That spring, D'Antonio visited Pasadena, a trip that cemented the Spartans' mantra.
Hey guys, welcome to the Rose Bowl. Had an opportunity to come out here in late May and just walk on the field a little bit. This is where we make it happen. I wanted to go in there specifically to take a picture of the Rose Bowl, of us being there, so our players could see what the inside of that stadium looked like. And then I just sort of pitched the phone over to one of my daughters and said, hey, let's take a little video here. So January 1st this year, or 2014 as we get into it, it'll be our time. It will be our time. And as I said at the banquet, you will be the ones.
You grow up as a kid looking at that stadium, and to actually see your coach standing there talking to you about this is where we need to be. It was a shocking feeling.
Before the ones could commence their chase, finding the one at quarterback proved a difficult challenge. Kirk Cousins, the winningest quarterback in school history, graduated in 2011 and handed the keys to the Spartan offense to Andrew Maxwell. Maxwell battled inconsistency in 2012, and his backup, Connor Cook, engineered a comeback win over TCU in the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl. As the 2013 season dawned, who would start under center remained undecided.
We were waiting for one guy to sort of take the role and jump out in front and make it very obvious to us as coaches that, hey, I'm the guy.
And I was just like, oh my God, how are we gonna win? We don't even know who our quarterback is going into the first game.
Early on in 2013, the Spartans' best offense was a world-class defense.
You know what amazed me the most out of the first two games? Michigan State scored 6 touchdowns. 4 of them were by the defense, and 3 of them were by one guy on defense, Shalik Calhoun.
Shalik Calhoun's got another one. He's at the 10. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, MSU. Shalik Calhoun strikes again.
I got a couple jokes from offensive players. Jeremy Langford came up to me and was like, man, you got more touchdowns than I do.
Andrew Maxwell gets the call. Things don't go very well against Western Michigan. The next week, Connor Cook gets the call. He's still mixing in Tyler O'Connor in there. And during all of this, not any of these 3 guys are really performing very well.
Fans are booing. Fans are chanting, we want Terry for the freshman quarterback, Damian Terry. And there's a lot of tension.
We had some serious discussions about whether Damian was capable and ready to step in there. So we made the decision to keep the red shirt on him and go in a different direction.
Heading into week 3 against Youngstown State, when Coach D and I met with Coach Warner, and he said, we're going to go with you. We're not going to try and pull you. We're giving you the keys and just go out there and just play football.
The Youngstown State game, Cook, I thought, sort of took control of the situation, played very well the first half, didn't even play in the second half.
The goodwill Cook earned against Youngstown State evaporated the following week, late in a 17-13 loss to Notre Dame.
They pulled Connor Cook for the final 2 minutes, and Andrew Maxwell has one of the more disastrous drives you can have. It just 4 plays that just didn't work.
It didn't feel like he was playing well enough at the time, and even though we put Andrew Maxwell in an extremely tough situation, I felt like we needed to have confidence in him and give him that opportunity.
I felt that I played the entire game and I, was warm and I had somewhat of the rhythm in, and I feel like if Coach D would have given me that opportunity at the end, that I could have led the team down and we could have scored a touchdown to win the game.
After that game, I felt like people were thinking that, our season was going to go downhill from there.
We could either be frustrated with that decision and the loss and everything and kind of butt heads a little bit, or we could take that on the chin and kind of make it as more of a motivation, like, hey, we kind of turn to each other like we aren't losing again this year.
Sporting a 3-1 record after losing at Notre Dame, the Spartans' bye week prior to the start of Big Ten play allowed room for reflection.
I went back after the Notre Dame game and watched, that game 5 or 6 times. Just watching my footwork, watching the decisions that I made, my presence in the pocket. I felt like I was getting rid of the ball way too soon.
I think you could kind of see when he came out against Iowa, he was almost a different quarterback, and our offense was almost a different offense at that stage of the season.
Michigan State was losing at halftime, 14-10. Cook leads them to a 26-14 victory. 277 yards passing, and they didn't look back.
I started to get more comfortable with the game plans that we had, getting to know my receivers, building, a relationship with them on the field and off the field.
Cook's confidence was complemented by the emergence of Michigan State's ground attack as Jeremy Langford powered his way to 8 straight 100-yard games.
This is a kid who came to Michigan State as a running back, moved to defensive back, then moved to receiver, then ended up back at running back. Could never really find a spot for him.
And then he got in the heat of the battle there in game situations, and he became more comfortable, and he began making plays.
I knew at that point when I was running the ball that the coaches trusted me. And that's what I wanted the whole season, is the trust.
Spartans bring pressure. Oh, they get tackling. Ball's loose. It's going to be a touchdown. D'Amico Allen scores.
As the offense rounded into form, the nation's top-ranked defense continued to terrorize opponents, with coordinator Pat Narduzzi calling the shots.
Coach Dude, he's a crazy, energetic, loving guy, really understands football, just chaotic. His defense describes him.
I think the kids had played together for so long with each other, and they knew exactly what they wanted, they knew how to get it, and just everything fit together.
Defensive leadership on the field came from senior Max Bulla, a third-generation Spartan.
The Bulla name is Michigan State royalty. In a recent story, I referred to it as the Spartan House of Bulla.
Well, growing up, in my family, it was just something that we've always known. It's always been a part of our family. It's always been a part of the way we play.
He'd watch film of himself, but also watch me, and then, text me at 9, 10 at night, telling me things that I need to work on. He inspired other guys to get better, and he was very vocal. He's not afraid. A great leader cannot be afraid of confrontation. A great leader has to be a great communicator, and he's a great communicator.
You have to walk the walk. You have to, in certain times, talk the talk. But you have to be someone that's been through it, that people respect the way you work, the way you are, who you are.
One of the most feared secondaries in the nation, the Spartans' defensive backfield embraced a new identity in 2013, the no-fly zone.
I sat down with the guys and I told them, hey, we got to have a swagger. That's how no-fly zone came about.
You have a back end with Darquez Denard, Jim Thorpe Award winner, who's a lockdown corner. You got Curtis Drummond, who's a playmaker. Isaiah Lewis, that'll take your head off. And then you have an up-and-coming superstar in Trey Waynes.
The best thing about them is not only do they cover, but they come down and they make plays too. They're just as aggressive as our D-line. So, having them back there and having them as, extra run support, it made the defense so much better.
November arrived with the Spartans boasting a 7-1 record. And with the Paul Bunyan Trophy at stake, the in-state rivalry that had intensified during the D'Antonio era was ready for the next chapter.
You looked at Devin Gardner, the Michigan quarterback. That kid just took a beating. It was really one of the more dominating performances defensively that I've ever seen in college football.
There were times in that game when it really looked like Pop Warner against varsity. And I've never seen that before in a Michigan State game with Michigan State being the varsity.
Nursing a 16-6 lead late in the third quarter, a Connor Cook interception set the stage for one of the great defensive series in Spartan history.
When he threw the interception, we were taught to, go out and put out the fire. That's the thing we would say in practice all the time.
Chased by Isaiah Lewis and run down and gang tackled.
Our offense gives up the ball, and
You know, our mentality is just to fight, and that's what we did.
We were smelling a little blood, and, you know, we turned it loose and had 3 zone blitzes and 3 big plays off it.
Wants to throw, no time! Down he goes again! He is swarmed by the Spartans!
Michigan takes over at about midfield. 3 plays later, they'd done nothing but go backwards and are punting on 4th and 31.
Michigan State scored on its ensuing possession, and Jeremy Langford would put the game on ice minutes later.
Jeremy at the 25 to 20. He's at the 10. He's at the 5. He's going to go into the end zone. Touchdown, MSU.
That run was very special. I watched that game now, and I still just was relieved because it was a hard game, tough game, and we finished Michigan off.
Unbelievable. Comparing last year, awful feeling. Our seniors did not want to happen. The best feeling in the world right now.
Talked all week about, to be honest with you, keeping the line in the cage. You know, just peaking at game time. And you know, we were going to let the line out of the cage at 3:30. And that's what happened.
After the game, Travis Jackson became a minor celebrity thanks to one word: yes.
When Connor Cook snuck it in, I just kind of went for the celebration, the Daniel Bryan yes chant. I was so excited that I think I added my own little kind of hop squat into it. I remember the ref coming up to me and just going, "Please stop." We had our Bible study Monday night, and Monday Night Raw comes on. It's like from 8 to 11, and he's doing this yes chant, and everyone's partaking in it. I just thought this thing was so cool. You're not really bringing attention to yourself. You're more adding everyone into it.
In control of their path to the Big Ten title game, the Spartans needed to do something they'd never accomplished in 7 tries: beat Nebraska.
The team can say that they've never lost to you, whether it's when you were there or 30 years ago. That's something that you take personal, and I took personal, and I think our team did that.
That week, we worked a lot of turnover drills because we knew that, you know, they were younger and the quarterback was inexperienced, so we took advantage of it, and, you know, we just got after them.
After the 13-point win, the Spartans partook in their post-game ritual, the soundtrack provided by Rich Homie Kwan's Type of Way.
You know, I'm from Georgia, Rich Homie from Georgia as well. I knew about it for going home and just listening to his music. I knew about it, and so I'm steady pushing my teammates on like that summer.
I like to have fun with their players. The players keep you young. We wanted it to be for our football team, our celebration, our little celebration with our little family.
Any type of way. Whatever you got to do to get something, don't let nobody stop you from doing it. Don't let nobody deter you from doing it. You just got to find the type of way to get it done.
To be honest, they made the song bigger than what it was because it put it on a whole nother different platform. You know, like I never expected a song to go to Michigan State. You know, Michigan State made me a fan for life. I became a Spartan for life after that.
I was in the circle, and everyone was like, kind of like, do the yes thing. And so I was like, all right. So it was really cool because it's something that the team picked up and kind of all rallied behind me on, so it was fun.
The Spartans closed out the regular season on an 8-game winning streak, clinching a Legends Division title at Northwestern before beating Minnesota on Senior Day.
It was the last game in Spartan Stadium for our seniors. There was a lot to play for, but more importantly, it was to finish the job.
I don't think there's been a better 2 months for Michigan State football in its history than November 2nd through January 1st. That 2 months is really when it all changed.
2013 marked the Spartans' second visit to the Big Ten Championship game. 2 years earlier, a running into the kicker penalty on Isaiah Lewis prevented any chance of a Michigan State comeback versus Wisconsin.
That was one of the worst feelings. I still remember it. Guys were crying. The seniors, were that close to a Rose Bowl, and they couldn't finish it.
Isaiah Lewis, unable to speak in the locker room. Guys are kind of going over there one at a time to console him and just say, hey, it's not your fault. Get over it.
I had to forget about that Wisconsin game, and I had to just look forward to Ohio State. You know, it's not the same game. We're not playing that game no more. You know, that was 2011. It was back in the past.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the excitement of the Big Ten Championship football game.
I mean, each team's unbeaten in the Big Ten. Ohio State's got a 24-game winning streak. Had never lost under Urban Meyer. You had to think Michigan State was a little bit rankled. I mean, all the talk was about Ohio State, how this was going to be Ohio State's coronation.
Winners of the Legends Division, the Spartans of Michigan State University, come into tonight's game with an unblemished record in conference play, an unwavering belief in one another, and oh yeah, the #1 defense in the nation.
There are a lot of Ohio guys snubbed by Ohio State, a lot of good players on this Michigan State team. Denikos Allen, always the most outspoken about it.
You don't go disrespect us like that. You don't celebrate until you win this game. And we gonna see who's gonna be celebrating after this game. Let's go. We gonna say, let's go.
I was pretty sure that they was going to offer me, but I never heard from them. And it's just a different feeling when I'm in that game. It's a different person comes out. I feel disrespected, kind of in a way.
There's a lot of people that talk a lot of trash in Ohio, so a lot of people that were doubting me going into that game, a lot of people saying how Michigan State was going to get their butts kicked. And I know a lot of guys, I know Ohio State. So that game was extra personal for me.
I don't think that we really ever tensed up around here. So when we got to that football game, I think we were pretty confident coming out of the locker room, and good things happened fast to give us an indication that we were right.
Michigan State came out and I think punched Ohio State in the mouth. Buckeyes weren't ready for this. This isn't what they bargained for.
Caught! Mumphrey down the sideline! Sparty's got 6, 72 yards!
I meant the safety tried to gamble on the ball, and then that's when I looked and I said, oh, there's nobody there, and I just caught the ball and I just ran. It happened so fast, but it was like so many, it was so many, I was processing so many things at one time, but it was like on the go.
Just over 9 minutes to play in the first half.
I lined up, the corner's probably about to blitz, but he's like 5 yards off me, so I'm like, he's probably not gonna blitz from that far. But I've seen him do it on film before to try to disguise it.
Play fake to Jeremy. Connor's got time, unloads deep right, over the shoulder grab, in the end zone. Tony Lippett with the catch. Touchdown, MSU.
You look up at the scoreboard and, you're midway through the first half and it's 17-0 Michigan State. I mean, this is not what anybody was expecting.
The second-ranked Buckeyes finally answered the bell behind the play of their first-team All-Big Ten quarterback, Braxton Miller.
Miller, he'll take it himself. Wants a block, has a seam. Miller still running. Braxton Miller, oh my God, what a move.
Braxton Miller's a great player, and he makes plays, and nobody else, when we blitzed or played our game against a quarterback like that, made people miss like Braxton did. To me, it was a one-man show with Braxton Miller.
You can't hold a great player all the time. He gonna make plays. He on scholarship too.
Braxton Miller got going. He was a load. Michigan State couldn't contain him or Carlos Hyde. For about a quarter and a half, it looked like it was Ohio State's game.
Second down to 2, Braxton Miller.
24 points in a row for the Buckeyes, and they now lead it 24-17. How this game has turned around. Trailing in the second half for the first time in 2 months, the Spartans went to work. Hand off to Jeremy, looking for running room off tackle. He's at the 30, cuts to his left to the 35, he's at the 40, 45, 50, 45. Jeremy Langford on his feet into Ohio State territory.
He's going 3 and out, and then next thing you know, Jay Lang rips off a big run, and we're right back in the game.
Michael Geiger will try the field goal from 44.
I knew it was close. I knew I didn't get all of it. But, I just kind of, was hoping it would go in, and I knew it was straight.
It's up. Is it long enough? Barely, and it's good.
Just to show that they weren't going to go 3 and out and put that defense right back out on the field again. That drive to go from 24-17 to 24-20 was probably the most important drive of Michigan State's season offensively.
At the start of the fourth quarter, Michigan State embarked on an 8-play, 90-yard drive that culminated with a play that had a history of failure.
Every time that we ran that in practice, it was never open. I talked to Josiah and the other guys, like, you know what, this play stinks. We should take this out of the game plan.
The safety, I know, was number 4, and I just saw him staring at me, and I was like, dang it, this isn't going to work. And then all of a sudden, he took 3 steps up, and I was like, wow, it's wide open.
Connor Cook rolls right.
All wide
Looking
open,
back,
George.
got a man wide
There
open.
he is.
He's got him in the end zone.
There it is.
Making the grab, Josiah Price. Touchdown, MSU.
I remember turning to my parents in the stands and just raising my hands like this because you knew that, we weren't going to go away. And I was just so excited. I remember just seeing my parents being like, we're going to do this.
With under 6 minutes remaining, Ohio State crossed into Spartan territory and put the game into the hands of their best player on 4th down.
Ohio State's looking at 4th and almost 2. They need to get to the 37.
If you stop, most likely Braxton Miller from getting that yard, about a yard and a half, roughly at midfield, you're probably going to win the Big Ten championship.
Well, it was a big moment. It was clutch, and they called a edge blitz, and I'm like, all right, it's the play.
Nikos walks up on the line of scrimmage, and he knew in his heart that Braxton was getting the ball, because he had some success. He's a playmaker. He's fast.
Braxton Miller will run that way. He's hit down. He didn't make it. He is hit down. Didn't make it. Nikos Allen with the play of the night. Down, down, down goes the Buckeye.
I blacked out right before the snap. Like, I wasn't thinking about nothing but making a play. I had no control over my body. It's just reaction. I was just doing it unconsciously.
I'm looking down the line, and I just see Nikos on his way down, and he starts to pull Braxton Miller down, and I just run. I'm just looking like, yes, like we got it. We got him. It's over.
That Nikos Allen stop of Braxton Miller, I can't imagine it's much outside the top 5 in terms of all-time Michigan State plays. And it was the ultimate confrontation, the best offense against the best defense.
2.5 to go in the game. Spartans leading 27-24.
It's not a prolific offense, but one thing they did most of the season was had that finishing run, had that big play at the end, something that put the dagger in.
Hand off to Jeremy, up the gut to the 15.
He's on his feet, George.
To the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, MSU. The Spartan sideline explodes. Everybody in green and white at Lucas Oil Stadium going crazy.
I'm never going to forget that run. I just knew that we was finally going to the Rose Bowl. We finally did it.
When Jeremy Langford hit that touchdown run, and I knew it was over, that was 7 years of hard work, not by just myself, but by our administration, our president, our players, our past players. There was a lot of emotion there, a lot of emotion. Still is. It just meant that it all came to fruition, and we're going to the Rose Bowl.
Then let the dancing begin. The Spartans 34, Ohio State 24. The Spartans will head to the Rose Bowl as undisputed Big Ten champions.
Standing on the sideline behind the bench, I saw as much joy as I've ever seen. There was validation. It was their time.
Got me a rose. Going to the Rose Bowl. First time, and I don't know how long, 1988 we're going. I'm happy. Everybody happy? Let's go.
But that's something I always dreamed of. It's just something about being on that stage and celebrating with your team with a rose in your mouth, knowing you're going to Pasadena, going to California to play in the Rose Bowl, which is the granddaddy of them all. It's just a great feeling to have.
Those emotions, like, it came out as tears. I was just happy. The highest point of happiness you can be.
For me, it was just a sigh of relief. It's like, we've been talking about this, been trying to do this for so long, and people have been telling us we can't do it.
Oh, man, I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it. That feeling, it was amazing. It was so much joy, and it was kind of surreal.
I said a long time ago, you will be the ones.
How are you going to celebrate tonight? First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go in that locker room and dance with my players. What dance you going to do? Type away. You ever heard that? I never heard of that one. You better check it out. Rich Homie Quan.
That's what happens when you believe. When you believe and you put your mind to a dream, and you got a dream, those things will happen. Never forget this for the rest of your life. In anything that you do, anything that
what you do. It can happen. It can happen. Dream big, and let's hit that thing.
I mean, it was honestly just a huge celebration all the way from right after the game when we all stormed the field and we're all pumped to all the way in the locker room for 30 minutes. I think they were blaring music.
I remember the songs coming on, and that's when it really hit home. Like, yep, we just won this.
To be able to hoist that trophy and be the Big Ten champions and not have to share that with anybody, I mean, that was a great feeling and a moment I'll never forget.
We haven't been to the Rose Bowl in 26 years. Everybody said Ohio State go blow the doors off us, pretty much. You know, go beat us, beat the brakes off us. And just going down there and just showing them and proving them wrong, it was fun.
I went to bed early, Christmas night. You can't have a more shocking wake-up call around 4 a.m. than to see, that Max Bullough has been suspended for the Rose Bowl.
Here was the Mateen Cleaves of Michigan State football. The guy who's, from this pedigree, from this family that's kind of speaks to the program and had done so much to make Michigan State's Rose Bowl happen. It was stunning.
For me, it was letting down my coaches and my teammates and my family. I felt bad for jeopardizing the work that the coaches and the players had put into that season, getting us to that point, and maybe not being as good of a unit just because I was a starter all year out there, and that's what made me sick.
I talked to our players when we had our team meeting that evening and told them what was going to happen, that he was suspended, but also told him at that point in time that that wasn't going to be an excuse, that we were going to rise up. We got a lot of good football players. We got time. We'll adjust.
It was tough, playing with Max for 3 years, playing next to him. It was really heartbreaking not having Max there with me for that moment.
As much as we emotionally missed Max, and we did, it was an emotional letdown for us too. Never once did we waver in achieving that goal. Not for a second did we waver.
With Max Bullough suspended for violating team rules, former walk-on Kyler Ellsworth and Darian Harris would attempt to fill his shoes.
The night when they told us that he wasn't going to be there, everybody just, in awe and shock. But then, I look at Darian, because Darian's standing right next to me. I was like, it's your time. It's time for you to step up. We need you.
I was always going to prepare like a starter, but in this situation, I had guys like Darquez and Art coming to me and saying, that first day saying, your week has completely changed around. Anything that you thought that you were going to do, any extra fun that you thought you might have, that's out the window now.
Kyler Ellsworth has been a playmaker his whole career. He made a lot of short yardage stops. You're talking about a fifth-year senior who'd been the understudy for Max Bullough, and he knew everything.
I really, hunkered down in the film room and watched as much film as I could. Because I knew if, I was out in that field, I wanted to feel 100% confident that, I know this game just as well as Max would know this game. We talked for a little bit, and, he basically, said, listen, man, it's your time to shine.
You just need a little bit of confidence, someone to, just a familiar voice saying, you can do it, and this is how you do it. You know how to do it. You just hear it from me, it'll make you feel better.
Good afternoon, everybody from Pasadena. And here come the Michigan State Spartans. They are the home team in the 100th Rose Bowl.
Beating Urban Meyer and the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten Championship game, I felt like we had gained a lot of respect. But I felt like people still didn't think we were going to go out to California and get the win against a good Stanford team.
This was a very good match for Michigan State, but once you lost Max Bullough, you started wondering, was this going to be just a little bit too much for Michigan State to overcome?
Hands the ball to Gaffney, hit hard, but bounces out of a tackle at the 10, cuts to his left at the 5, and he's into the end zone for a Stanford touchdown.
For a little bit of that first series, it kind of hurt us that we were playing so fast that sometimes we were getting out of position. And, Gaffney took advantage of that, hit some holes, and had some good yards. And, at the beginning of the game, it looked like, this is going to be a tough guy to stop.
Hands to Jeremy, cutting it outside left. He's got too much speed. Touchdown, MSU!
A Jeremy Langford touchdown cut the Stanford lead to 10-7. But late in the first half, a poor decision by Connor Cook set in motion the most important 2 minutes of the Spartan season.
Stanford shows blitz.
We got pressure. It was an unblocked safety coming from the field. We had no one to pick him up. And Connor got rushed and should have probably thrown the ball into the dirt and lived to play another down.
Connor Cook just threw it away. It's picked off by Kevin Anderson, and he'll go unmolested into the end zone for a Stanford score.
I came off the sideline, and Coach T was giving me this look, and I didn't know if he was going to yell at me. I didn't know if he was going to, try and cheer me up, but he just asked me, is like, everything good?
I'm not a big yeller screamer at players, on game day. And, I just asked him if he was okay, and he said, yeah. And I said, my fault or something like that. And I just gave him a little fist bump, and I said, okay, let's get ready to go.
We just regathered, and Coach said we're going to take a deep shot, put me in the game.
Touring far side, got one-on-one, and reaching forward at the 4-yard line is Benny Fowler.
We needed a score. We needed someone to make a play, and that was me just trusting Benny. If I threw it up there, if it was going to be behind him, if he had to go up over the top, that he was going to make the play, and that's the confidence that I have in him. No one was really open. There was pretty much all 22 guys on one side of the field. Felt like there was some pressure coming from my backside, kind of scrambled a little bit.
When I got to the sideline, I was running out of room. I knew I had to make a move, so I tried to cut back inside, and luckily just lost the defender a little bit. I think he slipped or something.
Running to his right, that's it, end zone, caught! Trevin Pendleton, touchdown, MSU!
To see him, a former walk-on that earned a scholarship, to see him score in the Rose Bowl, I was just so happy for him.
Trailing 17-14 at the half, Michigan State rode the momentum of Pendleton's touchdown into the first possession of the third quarter.
Connor guns it left side. Nice grab, made it to 40 at the 45-yard line, up to the 50, and now into Stanford territory goes Benny Fowler. He's carrying the Stanford Cardinal all the way inside the 15-yard line.
I think he stiff-armed one of their defensive backs for 30 yards. This is his last game as a Spartan. What would you do if it's your last football game? He's going to go out there, give it everything he has, and put all on the line.
Field goal drive from 32 now for Michael Geiger, and he hits it.
Knotted at 17, the Spartan defense finally found the form that had befuddled opponents throughout the season.
We came out in the second half a completely different team than we were in that first half as far as a run defense. And I think everyone stepped up their game.
Well, Michigan State shut it down, really dominated the second half of that game defensively.
They try to do max protect. It was basically Hail Mary throws. Have everybody in protecting, send 2 receivers downfield, and launch it and hope for the best. Well, we have a no-fly zone back there that's going to cover that.
And it is picked off, and Trey Waynes went up for the ball and came down with it.
Early in the fourth quarter, Michigan State drove deep into Stanford territory and faced a crucial 3rd and 8.
That was kind of a crazy play because, in that, the protection for us, they actually brought more than we could block.
This is the second game I only played right guard, and I was playing next to Foe, who's just a really good friend of mine. And we must have had this thing because me and him just changed our protection and kind of just set back and let it come to us.
Connor winds up, throws over the middle.
There it is.
The 5.
He's in there.
Lippin dives into the end zone. Touchdown, MSU. The Spartans take the lead in the Rose Bowl.
When I caught it, I was either going to be bracing up for a hit or I was just going to walk in the end zone. And once I caught it and took one step and I felt that he didn't touch me yet, I just okay, I'm 3 yards away from the end zone. So if he do touch me, I still have to stretch his ball out and get in the end zone.
To be in the 100th Rose Bowl, it's under the lights, starting to get dark, the crowd roaring, the game's on the line, it's fourth quarter, and to rip a ball like that to Tony and have him score, I've never felt so hyped before in a football game. I've never, felt a feeling like that, and it was just honestly, undescribable.
Connor Cook wasn't just a game manager, which a lot of people thought he was. He really, at that point, had developed into a guy who could make plays downfield. In a lot of ways, it was the coronation of Connor Cook.
And this one curling in for Jordan Williamson.
With the Spartans clinging to a 24-20 lead in the closing minutes of the Rose Bowl, Michigan State, a team built on defense, readied for one final stand.
We have 3:06 to go in the Rose Bowl.
Michigan State's defense, the best defense in the land. It's up to them to win this ball game.
There's no point in the game where we feel nervous that we're going to lose a game. Not trying to sound arrogant. That's not any arrogance at all. That's just confidence. We stop them, we're pretty much going to win the game. If they march down the field and score, our offense is going to have a short time, to get the ball down there.
Now it's 3rd and 2. Hogan takes the shotgun snap, hands the ball back to Gaffney, and he is hit for a loss.
Guess who?
Tyler Gaffney drilled by Danico Allen, who makes play after play after play.
That 3rd down play, it was nice. I mean, you just know how big of a moment it is, and you know how much you have to step up as a senior linebacker, and I just wanted to step up and do what I've been doing since I've been at Michigan State.
4th and a yard for Stanford at their 34. Spartans 24, Stanford 20. Minute and 46 to go in the Rose Bowl.
When we saw them line up, Kyler and I both recognized the play that was coming because we practiced it the week before.
We did it one time in practice. I jumped over the pile. I bumped over to outside backer where I've played for the past 2-3 years in that short yardage package. And, we felt good about what they were going to do.
We called a timeout, reset everything, made sure that our secondary wasn't going to dive into the pile.
When I went out there, I'm telling everyone on the defense, hey, watch Gaffney. I'm thinking it's going to Gaffney the entire time. But what my coach always says is, anticipate, don't guess.
I knew it was going to the fullback, right up the middle. Again, just from practice, from recognizing that play from film. And, I was fully confident that I would be able to jump over the line and make that play.
That play, I felt like everything just slowed down. Like everything was in slow motion because I saw the ball being hiked. I saw the fullback go through, and all I see is like Darian and Kyler jump over the pile.
Hogan under center. Long count. Hands to Gaffney. He won't go anywhere. He won't go anywhere. Michigan State stops Stanford and stuffs them at the line of scrimmage. And the Spartans are on their way to a win in the Rose Bowl.
You see the collision, and then you look across that stadium, and the entire place explodes. It was mostly green and white, and the sideline just sort of all exploded together.
Tyler Ellsworth, one of the Mike linebackers who replaced Bulla here today. He's in on this play. How about that for the youngster who came to Michigan State as a walk-on originally in the biggest game of his career?
Took my read step, saw where the play was going, and, left my feet, and that's, kind of why, I tried to jump up as high as I thought I was going to have to go over the fullback, to get to Gaffney. And lucky enough, I saw that it was handed off to the fullback, tried to adjust. Darian Harris on my left also left his feet, went airborne. Shalik Calhoun, defeated a block, came in from the other side. There was really nowhere for the guy to go.
And I hit him from the side, and I was like, we won. And the first thing that came to my head was we won.
It was very, fitting that myself and Darian were both in on that final tackle. These two guys that are battling out for the spot all week are in on that tackle and, make that final stop.
All of a sudden, you went from, are we going to win this thing, or pretty sure that you're on the right track to winning it, to it's over.
Andrew Maxwell, who gave ground to Connor Cook. He'll take this 3rd down snap.
Connor Cook, good for him. 22 at 36, 332 yards and a couple touchdowns.
I couldn't be more thankful to have him as a teammate, and for him to be so supportive and just take it the way he did was just so excellent.
And Andrew Maxwell, who was a true team player this year, has the ball last as the Spartans win the 100th Rose Bowl.
Play with a chip on our shoulder, as you guys can tell out there today, and I'm just so proud of the guys.
It's just pure joy. I never felt this way before.
you know, and it's such a critical point in Michigan State history, you know, and that's what makes it so special.
I knew last year that if we came this year, if we found the inches, that we could be something special. 13-1 is pretty special.
I truly believe, you know, I get everything I had in this football season, everything I had in that bowl game against Stanford. So, you know, it was mission complete for me because I knew I could look myself in the mirror saying, you know, we did it, we won the Rose Bowl, and you did the best you can.
You see the guys on the stage celebrating. Connor Cook's the MVP of the game. Like, he wasn't predicted to be a starter. He wasn't the starter from the beginning of the season. He's the MVP of the Rose Bowl. Then there's a walk-on who wasn't a starter on the team who's the MVP defensively, backing up Max Bullock. What more can you say to that?
I actually was doing an interview, and the next thing I know, security kind of taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, we need you on stage." I'm like, "What do you need me on stage for?" And you know, that's how I found out that I was the defensive MVP, and I was kind of like, "Me?"
So he goes from being nobody to, like, you know, he's the hero of Michigan State. He worked his butt out for 5 years, and, you know, all his hard work finally paid off. And now he'll remember the rest of his life as the guy who won us the Rose Bowl.
Go!
In the locker room, and I turned over my shoulder and was like, "Man, isn't Rich Homie Quan supposed to be here?" And he was like right where you are, just literally like a yard in front of me, and he turned around and, "Hey, what's up?"
They wanted me to dance, but I told them, I'm a fan of you all. I just want to sit back and watch. This is y'all moment, not mine. You all are the champions. I just sit back and soak it all up, man. And it's a memory I never forget. Oh yeah, they still got me in there. Yeah, I still was in the middle. They still got me in.
I went out to California, was practicing my nay-nay dances, you know, leading up to the Rose Bowl. So I was feeling really confident that we were going to win the game. So some type of way started playing, and then Darian got in the middle doing his nay-nay thing, and then I think I got in there, shoved him away, and started doing my thing.
I mean, that's something I'll remember forever. Just Rich Homie Quan being there with us, dancing with us, having the president of the university, the athletic director in there dancing with us. It's just something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
I'm actually the one that dragged President Simon into the circle, and my daughter told me never to dance again. So I think the president and I, that was our one and done.
We got to go in the locker room, and I was like, if Rich Homie Quan's here, he's doing it with me. It was so cool being able to do it with him and the team, especially after winning the Rose Bowl, so special.
The way everything came together and the way the story changed so dramatically within a season, this is one of those seasons that you put in a time capsule and you never forget about it.
We beat all the Big Ten opponents by 10 or more points. Our defense was #1 in the country. We went out to California, we won the Rose Bowl, 13-1, only team in Michigan State history to have 13 wins and convincing wins.
Maybe people will say, we weren't the greatest MSU team of all time, but I think we should be in that argument of one of the best football teams to come through Michigan State.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Spartan seniors of 2013.
The Rose Bowl's not about Michigan State 2013's team. The Rose Bowl's about Michigan State as a program, the tradition that we hold, the players that are here all day here today that have played 5, 10, 20 years ago, that have all been trying to get there. That's a representation of all those people's hard work.
Where it goes will depend on where our players take it, and that's the thing. We're not the program that can sit there and say, hey, we've done this for 5 years in a row. The key to the future is how do we handle success? Can we capitalize on this time? And what we're trying to do is build a legacy here. A championship every 26 years at Michigan State, it's got to go way beyond that.
The basketball halftime was interesting because there was this outpouring of love and everyone waiting to express it.
I was so worried people weren't going to do it with me. The Spartan Nation's so awesome. They stood up, they did it. It was such a surreal moment having 15,000 people do the yes chant with you.